Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to do a quick review on a movie I just checked out, put out from Unearthed Films in 2006, made in 2003, called Nails, part of their Russian horror collection. Um, I haven't seen a lot of Russian horror movies at all, I don't think. I can't think of any like Russian horror movies off rip that I've seen, but I was pretty anxious to check this out just because I dug the cover and the premise kind of sounded cool. But I picked this up at the half off sale they had recently at Grand House Video in Tampa, and it was a complete blind buy, so I didn't really know what to expect going in. But the basic plot, because it is pretty basic, is this hitman. It shows him killing these, like doing a hit on these people in the beginning to kind of let you know he's a hitman. He's suffering from visions of the past victims and all that. It's coming back to haunt him. He can't sleep and all that. And he reads an article about this guy who was driving rusty metal objects into his brain to relieve visions and all this and that. And this he basically tries it, drives a nail into his head, and that's the plot for like most of the movie right there. Because the beginning of it's in black and white, and for like the first 15-20 minutes is black and white. So I thought the whole movie was going to be in black and white, but when he drills the first nail into his head, it starts going into color, and that's kind of like what's happening is he's seeing everything how it truly is, or I think that's the vibe it's getting, because even all the food he's dumping out, there's like eyeballs in the food, and it's all like this jello material with eyes or fingers or dead fish and stuff, and all the food looks like that. And it's he's looking outside, and there's just like really bizarre visions, weird stuff going on. It's very David Lynch like, in a good way though. Like it's you follow it, you know what's going on, but it has a really artsy style to it. And this girl comes in midway through the movie, and I didn't know who this girl was, and it was confusing me. And she looked like really strange, really eerie, kind of. But at the end, like literally like the last 3 minutes, you find out who this girl is and what she is. Which leads me to my thoughts on the ending. I don't want to give anything away, but I really dug the ending. I thought it was really bleak. I thought it was really kind of almost sinister and kind of like a depressing ending almost, but I really dug it. I thought this movie was really entertaining, really well done. I really like the fact that it was a really artsy style movie, but I still like got everything about it. I still followed it. It kept my attention throughout the whole time. I mean, it's only 60 minutes, so it's over pretty quick, but it's the perfect length for this. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want this story like 2 hours or whatever, unless it had like a lot more money to do more with it, because this is actually a pretty contained film. Like out of the 60 minutes, I think 45 of the minutes are in his apartment, because the last 15 minutes just kind of go off the deep end, and it gets really bizarre, really weird, in a really good way. Kind of, it's just really cool. There's like some really like mechanical body horror elements towards the end that are really cool, but a lot of the gore and stuff in this is really body horror like. So if you're a huge fan of David Cronenberg, I think you'd really dig this. And yeah, like I said, if you're a fan of David Lynch, I think you'd dig this. And the guy who's playing the hitman, he looks like a Russian version of a Jeffrey Combs. Like that's all I kept thinking of when I seen him, because there's certain looks he'd give where he looks just like Jeffrey Combs. But and also in this movie, I don't know if this takes place in the future at all or anything, but there's kind of like a weird vibe to it, like it could be like in the near future. I'm interested to see if that's the case. But because this girl that enters his apartment midway through, she looks like she walked off the set of Blade Runner or something. And then even when it goes into the later part with her and you realize what's going on with her, it's kind of biomechanical, kind of futuristic somewhat. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I definitely want to watch this another time in the near future to kind of get the full thing of it. You know what I mean? Because there's stuff that I'm sure you pick up multiple viewings with this. But yeah, I can't really recommend this enough. I was really impressed with it. You know, I wasn't expecting a whole lot just because I had never heard anything of it. And yeah, it really impressed me. And my favorite thing about this whole entire movie is the soundtrack. I think it has a really eerie score to it, in a good, really good way. Though it's really eerie. It's just kind of, it sets the whole tone of the movie, and there's not a whole lot of dialogue at all, like really at all. So the dialogue you're getting with this film is really sparse. So the soundtrack kind of nudges it along the whole entire thing. It's like a pulse to this movie, and yeah, just a lot of eerie stuff to it about the soundtrack. And there's a scene in particular where he wakes up from the driving the first nail to his head. It's kind of like a chill techno, kind of almost like a chill dubstep type beat with some like flourishes in it, and I really dug that soundtrack. And looking at the special features, it actually includes a soundtrack on the disc. I really wish they would have had like a CD of the soundtrack, because I know Unearthed Films does like those 3-disc special editions. This movie would really be cool if it had like a 3-disc edition, like a Blu-ray and like a soundtrack, because the soundtrack was my favorite thing of the whole movie. I'd buy a vinyl copy of that soundtrack if they ever came out with one. But it has the features on this before I close the interview is Russian language soundtrack with removable English subtitles, the making of Nails. There's interviews with Andrei Iskanov, who's the director and producer, and I think he did a lot of other stuff because his name popped up a bunch of times in the opening credits. Production photos, production art, and trailers. So yeah, if you could find this, definitely pick it up. I was really stoked I grabbed it during the sale. I'm glad I didn't pass on it. I've heard rumors it's out of print from random people, but I don't know. Like I said, I thought I had heard the last one I reviewed, Aftermath Genesis, was out of print, but it turns out that's still in print. So I don't really know what these releases. You know what I mean? But if you go on the site, unearthed.com, if it's on the site or whatever, definitely pick it up. Or if it's on Grindhouse's site, pick it up, because it's definitely worth it. It's one of my top 3 Unearthed films right now. You know what I mean? Aftermath Genesis is a little step above it. But yeah, definitely love this movie. Really cool. Check it out. Peace.